Amari, and this time we're talking about the father of genetics, okay? Along with this, we're going to be using something called the KWL chart. And with the KWL chart, it tells us, it's a chart that helps, a chart of a graphic organizer that helps students organize information before, during, and after a unit or a lesson. They can be used to engage students in a new topic, activate prior knowledge, share units, objects, and monitor students' learning. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Alright, so let's go over our objective. So our objective says, I'll read it first and then you're going to repeat. I can read grade level text and comprehend academic vocabulary and apply it to the real world. Go ahead and reread it for me.
I can read grade level text and comprehend academic vocabulary and apply it to the real world.
When I say grade level text, what do I mean by grade level text?
Like on our level?
Meaning on our level, what grade are you in? Fifth grade. So things that you should understand right now, right? When I mean comprehend academic vocabulary, what do I mean by comprehend?
You should understand.
Understand. And when I say apply it to the real world, what do I mean by apply it to the real world?
Compare it to the real world.
Compare it to the real world, meaning things that are actually what? Around us. Good job. Give yourself 2 stamps for that. Alright. So when we're talking about using the KWL chart, when we're talking about K, the first column tells us what I know. What do you already know about the information that we're about to read? So that's what the first column do. Students can do this individual or in a small group. We're going to do this as a whole group. The second column is what I want to know. What do you want to know about the topic? Some students may not know where to begin if you don't have much background about what we're going to read. So it may ask you, what do you want to know? And the third column is what I learned. So after we finish talking about this topic, you might tell me, what do you want to learn? What have you learned about this topic? So go ahead and pull out your packet. You should be on page 8. Please pay attention because you never know when I'm going to call on you. Page 8. It is called the father of genetics. So how did the study of the pea plant lead to the discovery of how traits are passed from one generation to the next? One generation to the next. Gregor Mendel was an Australian monk who was very interested in plants. He spent much of his time in the Assyrian garden. Mendel was curious about the characteristics. Should we underline that?
Yes.
Why?
It's
It's in bold. Good job. Of different plants. So, what do we know? We should go ahead and write characteristics under what I know, since you guys know what characteristics is. What is characteristics? Characteristics?
Adjectives like smelly, pretty, hard, soft.
What is characteristics? Do you know what characteristics are? A characteristic of something. So my characteristics would be, Ms. Williams is tall. So what is the characteristics? I'm sorry. Huh?
Traits from others.
Huh? I'm sorry. What you said, Raymar? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. A characteristic is something that describes something, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and put the word characteristics here. Mendez was curious about the characteristics of different plants. The characteristics of different plants. So what do you want to know about characteristics? So go ahead and write down what do you want to know about characteristics. Give me 1 or 2 words about what do you want to know about characteristics. One or two words that you want to know about characteristics. Because each thing has its own characteristics, right? So, he was curious about the characteristics of different plants and their offsprings. What do I know? Let me go ahead and write the word offspring. What do you know about offsprings? Offsprings are produced? Okay. And someone said they are different here. So go ahead and what do you want to know about offsprings? What else do you want to know about offsprings? So in 1857, he decided to breed peas. Just out of curiosity, what does the word breed mean? To make it worth something. He chose to study the 7 characteristics of pea plants. Now that we know that he decided to study the 7 characteristics, does that give you an idea of what characteristics means? Okay, good job. Such as the length of the stem, the color of the ripe of the stem. First, he made sure that the plants he was studying was pre-breed. If I say pre-breed, what does that mean? Already bred. Good job. Alright, this meant that they had always had offspring with the same characteristics. So they were already pre-breed. Did he breed them with somebody that wasn't the same? No, he already had an idea to breed them with the same person. If a plant had wrinkled seed, its offspring would have wrinkled seeds too. He always used a greenhouse. Everybody seen a greenhouse before? Yeah, usually where they grow plants and things like that. Because he did not want to be pollinated. Pollinated. What do we know about pollinated?
Pardon interruption, teachers and students. Teachers, if you have not finished finalizing your grades for report cards, please do so at this time, before 2:15. Again, if you have not finished finalizing your grades for report cards, please do so before 2:15 today so we can get at that time.
What do you know about what do you know about pollinated?
It's kind of like the invasion, something like bees took pollen on the flower. It's you taking something from something that's not good.
Okay, so you're saying that
It's rushed in
okay, anybody else want to add on to what
Pardon
he said?
interruption, once again, teachers, just as a reminder, you have 9 grades entered per
fertilizer.
subject. That should be
Fertilize,
9 grades
okay.
per subject.
Good
And
job.
please
What you said, Connie?
try to turn in by 2:15 so
Okay.
that we can go
So
ahead
we
and
saying
print
pollinated
it
is
for the
fertilized.
students on tomorrow. Thank you.
And you can go ahead and write what you think you want to know about fertilized. By insects. This would have introduced too many variables. So once again, like the Nico says, with think about a butterfly and a flower or something with a long beak. If it takes it and gets inside of a flower and then it goes inside another plant, it just may throw the whole plant off, right? The plant may be mixed with maybe give me a type of flower that a bee goes in or something. What's that? It may be a rose, a daisy, a sunflower, all mixed together. So it would kind of throw the flower off. The flower may have all kind of characteristics, right? Did he want that? Because he said he wanted them to be what?
He did not want
He wanted them to have the same characteristics, so he wanted them to already be what? Good job, pre-breed. Good job. Alright. For the purpose of this experience, Mendel had to control the pollination himself. The first result did not surprise Mendel. It made sense that a young plant would have had the same traits or characteristics. So I'm going to go down to the next one and write traits. What do we know about traits? Traits is something that does what? Makes up what?
Describes a lot of different actions.
Actions. You mean looking for another word? Not thoughts. My trait. Yeah, so what word is that? Makes that person the type of what? Gives that person their what? The who? The who? Pull your thing down so I can hear you. Pull your mask down so I can hear you. Give them their character traits. The character traits? Okay. Give them their what? Huh?
Characteristics.
The characteristics?
Give them like give them their emotions and actions.
Emotion is actions, their feelings.
Like a cartoon. Like all kinds of cartoons have like a funny or goofy action, mad action. But what's the word?
It starts with a Q. Say it. It gives them the traits, gives them their qualities that makes them what? If my quality and your quality is the same, is that good? So my traits are different from yours, that makes us what? Different. Good job. So here, remember, tell me what else you want to know about traits or characteristics as his parents. Next, Mendel tried crossbreeding. Who wants to know the word crossbreeding? Who knows what crossbreeding is? Crossbreeding.
When they do it,
Crossbreeding.
when they do it,
Eric, go ahead. I'm sorry.
when two different plants crossbreed, they make a different type of plant that has different characteristics.
Yeah. So they do what?
Crossbreed.
Crossbreed what? Two types of what? They do what?
Crossbreed
So they breed two different what?
plants.
Eric, you want to add something?
You got mine.
Huh?
You got mine.
All right. But you can write something else that you may want to know about crossbreeding. Okay, so pea plants and tried crossbreeding pea plants that had different traits. For example, he breed a plant with a long stem with one that had a short stem. What kind of plant do you think he got? He crossbreed a plant that had a long stem with a plant that had a short stem. Hold on, take time. What kind of plant do you think he got? Ones that had a medium plant? Just give me an answer. By the show of hands, who think he had one that had medium stem? Hands down. Who you think got a long stem? So he mixed one that had a long stem with one with a short stem. If you think he got one that he got a plant that got a medium stem, raise your hand. Okay. If you think he got a plant that got a long stem, raise your hand. If you think he got one that came out with a short stem, raise your hand. Okay, that's asking. Mendez was surprised to see that all of the offspring had long stems. It seems as though the shortest characteristics had disappeared. So it does not mean just because one had one long and one had short that it's gonna come out with medium in the middle. All the short stems, all the short characteristics had disappeared. When he tried breeding the new plants with the other, he found that some of their offspring were tall, some were short. What was going on? Mendez kept experimenting and discovered their pair of genes. What is genes? When we talk about genes, what are we talking about, Markel? Determine what? I like how you said it. It determine what? It determines what type of offspring there will be what? There will be what? Passed on and what? Good job. So, the gene determines what?
If you had a baby.
Traits that will be passed on. And then just remember, you're gonna write what you want to know. One gene from one parent. Okay, so he kept experimenting and discovered a pair of genes that determine each characteristic. One gene from each parent. Some traits are stronger than others. Some called dominant traits, and some are called weaker recessive traits. Mendez used a capital letter as a symbol for a dominant trait and a lowercase for a recessive trait. Two dominant traits equal TT, and one recessive trait and one dominant trait is a lowercase t and an uppercase t, will result in the offspring having the dominant trait. Only when the offsprings receive two recessive traits will it have the recessive trait. Mendez was right, but it almost took 40 years for others to believe him. He tried to share the results of his work, but no one took him serious. He was only an amateur scientist, not a professional. Today, Mendez is known as the father of genetics. All right, so he was the one that came up with all this genetics about how Talon will have the traits of his parents. If he have a dominant trait of his mom and one recessive trait of his dad, he probably would come out looking like his what? Because he has the what? Dominant trait. All right, good job. So let's go ahead and answer these questions real quick and then we'll go. Question number 1. Which of the following is a human trait? A, eye color. B, height. C, hair texture. D, all of the above. D, all of the above. All of the traits. A hypothesis is a statement that is assumed to be true so that it can be tested. Which of the following might have been one of Mendel's hypotheses? 2 pre-breed plants would have offspring that have the same traits as they do. Plants with long stems produce more peas. Pea plants with short stems cannot have offspring. Or D, why are some traits stronger than others? Okay. A, good job. Two pre-breeds will have offspring with the same traits. Alright, let's see. I would have already asked for line. In a certain type of plant, the gene for red flowers is dominant, and the gene for the yellow flower is recessive. If a pre-breed plant with red flowers cross with a pre-breed plant with yellow flowers, what color would the offspring breed? See, we're not mixing colors. Yellow?
Red.
Red.
It would be red because it says that it's what? Red is the what? Dominant color. Okay? So we're gonna stop right there. But when we get back, you need to know what you have learned from this lesson here on your KWL. Okay?